all the things that I had questioned about the different arts I was doing, like, well, this is good, but it doesn't make sense, and they were just naturally addressing all these things. It's like, it was so much more practical in what they were doing and how they approached it that I was, probably after the first or second hour, I was hooked. And every time I asked the question, I got a decent answer, including sometimes I don't know or I'm not sure, which, helps sell it for me instead of trying to pretend to have all the answers. So because of that, I wound up going to Japan with a group with Steve and those guys, and then got to train with Dr. Hatsumi and a bunch of the master teachers over there for a couple of weeks. And it just cemented the whole thing. It was pretty phenomenal. I basically got adopted by several different groups of Japanese people and martial artists from different karate styles at a sports center where I would go to train on my own in the day. And these were all office workers from the state offices in the city hall. And during their lunch break, all these guys would flood the judo room and practice karate for an hour instead of having lunch. And so they started noticing me, started asking questions. And then next thing I know, I'm getting invited to spar. Well, there was one guy in particular whose English was pretty good. He was like an assistant to the mayor, and so he was the main translator, but I was trying to learn Japanese, so that was part of the experience, was the stuff they make movies out of, all the communication, interesting things. But so for about a month, a couple times a week, I'd show up, and during the lunch hour, every time I came, they'd have somebody else that they wanted me to spar. One day, this guy who did the translator, he was older than the rest of most of us. It was him and another guy in suits, sitting just kind of hanging around during the lunch hour workout. And they called me over, and I was introduced, and turns out the new guy, he was the head of a federation, the Goju-Ryu Federation. They invited me up to their main dojo, like on a Sunday kind of thing. All right. Went up. Next thing I know, it's like, okay, fight him. Did okay, fight him.
And so when you say fight him, it's like...
Point sparring, basically. But if you could pull off a flip or a sweep kind of a thing and take the person down and follow it up right away, but not wrestling. It was, kicking and punching primarily. And after about a half a dozen guys, they were done. We were winding down, and one of the other translators asked what I was doing on, like 2 Sundays from today. And, can you come to this auditorium? I'm like, yeah, okay. And I didn't realize that I had just been drafted onto a karate team. And I didn't even know when I went. That Sunday, I hooked up with a couple guys because everything was mass transit there for me. And we go to this big sumo stadium. And all of a sudden, they're handing me a uniform. And with a patch on it. And I'm like, what's going on? Oh, you're on the B team. I am. And it turned out it was like, like a national tournament, like for the year, or like the semis kind of a thing. And that particular group had an A team and a B team, and they put me on the B team. And next thing I know, I'm an American member of a Japanese karate team fighting in tournaments. And I think for 3 or 4 years, I fought in like regional and national tournaments as a member of the Chiba City Goju-Ryu Club for these guys. And the last year I was there, they actually, I wound up being captain of the B team. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure other foreigners have had, you know, similar experiences, but I've never come across anybody that was a member of the team regular, not just visiting for a week so they threw them in. One tournament that I went to, which was actually hosted by the club that I fought for, they had an annual tournament which was bare knuckle and a lot rougher, to the point where they would stop the fight and the referees would be pulling Kleenexes and rags out of their pockets to wipe up the blood on the floor from split noses and lips and stuff. And, you know, no plastic gloves, no sprays, no hazmat, none of that. And it was just, okay, there's a puddle of blood here, wipe it up, everybody look around, okay, continue. And that was rough. That was very rough. So for 3 years, our club and another club hosted annual tournaments that, yeah, they were not point karate tournaments at all. And they weren't wrestling matches, like it's not MMA stuff like we have now, but it was definitely somewhere between like a kickboxing tournament and a point karate tournament.